All right, welcome to Tellor Dev Call some week in July. So, all right, so big things. So this week we're going to be wrapping up Tellor 360, probably this week and next week. We'll wrap up probably most of the contracts this week, and then hopefully there's just some lingering final touch-ups for next week. So if you're helping with that, we'll kind of talk about that a lot. Big news that happened last week. Spuddy and I went to Defi Philly and had a great time.
It was awesome.
Yeah. So made a lot of good connections. I'll be on some podcasts coming up. It was like it was a really good event. Like if you saw, I tweeted about it because it was like the whole crypto sector. So, you know, like I was on a panel with I was on a panel with the Superfluid guy and a guy who runs Umbro, which is a privacy thing. They're EF grantees. Ben, he's super smart guys. But we were on a panel right after Bitcoin Maxis. And then there was like 2 panels later was like an NFT artist. So it was like just all over the place as far as the attendees go. So super good time. Especially just you get in these little bubbles of cryptocurrency where like you talk about, you know, like governance problems or little hard tech problems. And then, yeah, we were Spuddy and I were talking the whole way back. Like these people don't even know the hard problems. Like we're still convincing them that like Ripple's not actually a thing. And
yep.
So, you know, so we just have to get out of our bubble a little bit and just talk to people. Like, you know, you look at, yeah, like Spuddy and I, we were talking with people, like you go through like the top 100 cryptocurrencies and the vast majority are still just complete scams. There's like not even, like even Chainlink is like really, really good. Like they're like they at least semi have a functioning product. Like some of these are just like they don't even have developers. So anyway.
They have ad agencies.
Yeah.
And they track well in Google search results.
Yeah, it's so foreign.
That's true.
Anyway, on to Tellor tech stuff. So yeah, so what else? So Tim, what contracts should I start working on for? I guess you can just go, but you're done with governance completely, right?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so I'll start on governance today and I'll pick up another one tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, last week I kind of like went through all 3 of the big ones, 360, Flex, and governance, and kind of cleaned them up and reviewed them. So yeah, I've got a PR in 360.
It was in draft, or did you change it?
I just switched it over.
Okay.
And again, that one is nothing major, just kind of cleaning stuff up, like comments and stuff. So now I'm going through Flex and like going through the security checklist, and running Slither and kind of just going through Flex with a fine-tooth comb, basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get on that one. And then I added you to a group in Telegram. Or yeah, so this is Stadler Labs. Yeah, that's how I pronounce it. But they're working on a project with OVIX. They need like the collateralization ratio as a input. So basically like they're similar to like staked ETH, but they're staked Matic. So you stake your Matic and then they put it into different yield opportunities, and then you get like a token that's like, they call it MaticX. And they want to know like what is sort of how much of this MaticX is being lent out. So because basically what you would do with MaticX is you could then bring it over to OVIX or another platform and like stake it and then borrow more Matic. So you like lock up your Matic and you get this staking token. And then what you could do is you could loan that out for more Matic and you could have like crazy leverage on it. So they want to know like what's the leverage in the system. And that's what we're going to help them calculate. So they're in the process of working out the actual calculation, but I was hoping for you to make a kind of data spec on it and think about it. So
Okay.
there and
Yeah.
ask questions.
So is that leverage measure looking across different chains?
Well, no, it's not across different chains. The hard part about this one is, which we're gonna have to talk with them about and how to do it. So what they want to know is, so it would be with different platforms. So like right now they only have like one lending platform. So say like if it was on mainnet, and they're on Compound, and that's their one lending platform that's doing this. What happens when they get added to Aave or to a new one that doesn't even exist yet? You have to be able to add those in to the ratio.
Yeah, you're right.
So like
it's almost easier to do off chain.
Yeah, because like on chain, there's no way to like, you don't know what those future addresses are going to be or the functions to call. So we need some way to like say this is the ratio, but then what are the markets we're bringing on? How do we add them to it? And that's like, I'm thinking we somehow have them maintain that list on chain or something like that, and then we sort of just go and update it. But that's like the problem, I guess you could say.
I see. Okay.
Like it's not hard. We'll just be reading a function from a contract, but then how do you sort of add new ones is sort of, or remove, yeah. So
yeah, it's got to be some kind of like official record somewhere.
Right, and ideally it would be the user who defines that, not us. So
right.
So cool. All right, and then yeah, Pally.
Yeah, I'm working on submitting more complex query types that come with parameters from the CLI.
Okay.
And then also just working on my Algorand doc.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Talking to people that we met in Philly and just making sure we're live on all the test nets as usual.
How's the disputer? Is it running?
It's running. It's running better.
Better.
Installed some of the bug fixes
we should
that Lauren did.
Yeah. So I guess once we can start submitting tests for the API, like add it on your list of things to do once a week. Same with like if you want to like test a dispute once a month.
Yeah.
Like, you know, make sure the dispute monitor is catching it.
I still owe the community like a how-to dispute.
Yep.
I haven't done that yet. I said I was going to do that a long time ago.
Cool.
Does the dispute monitor just pick up on disputes, or can it dispute too?
The dispute monitor will send you a message or a text if the submitted value deviates from what our open source software would submit. It deviates from what Telliot would submit, then it'll send you a text.
Yep. So cool. Lauren, what you working on?
What?
Your turn.
I am working on changing that query type, return type. So with the API query, changing it to be an extra parameter if you want it as a string, as it is right now, or if you want it as anything else. So I'll probably reach out to Owen about that because I know he said that he had an idea for how to fix it last time when we were talking about it, but then decided not to. So I'll see what he says about that.
Cool.
I have an idea for that.
Oh yeah.
Callie has an idea.
So this is what Chainlink does for their any API, is that the arguments for the request include the like parsing arguments of the JSON. So like, for example, this is what we do with like if we read Coinbase, this is what we do with the pi signer, like you call the URL, and then you would also pass in as arguments like
I think we do that.
Oh, we do? Because I thought with this, like, you just pass in the URL and then you get the entire JSON string in.
No, you get a second argument of what of the key of basically the value that you want. But the problem is that it returns it as a string, no matter what it is. So we're thinking of including another parameter so that people can choose what they want. Because I guess you could make it work on a string, you know, depending on what kind of data you were looking for. So I don't know. We'll look into it.
Nice.
But yeah, right now it does have that second argument for the parsing.
Okay, for sure. Cool.
All right. Brenda, you need anything?
No. I guess, do you still want to do a code review once everything's done? Is autoplay done too? Since Tim already went through like the other ones, Specs 360 and governance.
Well, I'm going to go through governance today, do that one. I mean, you're welcome to do it with me, but yeah, so I'll pass you a different one, or whenever I'm done with it. You can just do an async. So
okay. Well, today's a good day for me.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay. We can knock out stuff then. Oh, other things. Tomorrow at noon is the auto call. So if you guys want an email invite, let me know, but it's in this channel at noon. So I'll be recording it and posting it online. We got a few people coming. We're going to be talking mainly best practices and what we can do. So we made like an auto best practices repo, and kind of our goal with the auto, for those watching, is the Alliance of Decentralized Oracles. The big thing we want out of the best practices repo is just like a place that people can go. These are how you interact with oracles in general, like, because there's a lot of pieces there. And then also just almost tips for auditors. We want to get auditors really on board, because like we've noticed that even with a lot of our clients' audits or other people's audits, they always, you go and you're like, here's my code, can you review it? And they're like, oh, you use an oracle here, is that part of the scope? And almost always they say no, because that triples the cost. So they say no, and they're like, okay, now assuming the oracle works perfectly, your code works great. And the problem is that like, that's always wrong. Like the oracle is never going to work perfectly. And just knowing like, if the oracle's audited and your code's audited, that doesn't mean them together is audited. Like, you know, Tellor can be audited, but we know like if you're using the current value and not waiting for disputes at all and relying on that for $1 billion, that audit wouldn't pick that up. That's a really bad practice. So just making sure auditors kind of understand that, and maybe even putting forth like, need an audit of your Oracle integration? Like, here's a bunch of leading experts and we'll audit your code, you know, even your Chainlink integration. Like, just, this is Chainlink centralized, and this is what the risk is. Do you have a fallback if that happens? If you don't, at least acknowledge it. And that's fine. So that's kind of the goal of it. Hopefully we can get some traction there. So, and then I'm doing, I have API 3, I think maybe tomorrow morning I'm doing that one.
Oh, nice.
So
I have no idea how API 3 works. That'll be awesome.
API 3 works good. So that's what, yeah. So Lauren, do you want to do some quick research on API 3 for me? Lauren's our prelim researcher. She did a really good job on the one, and then picked Tim and Tally and Claros. So yeah, that sounds awesome. That's about it, guys. On to the questions before we end the call, because I almost forgot. What is the future of TRB?
The future is now.
The future is now, Tally. We have somebody going to say the moon. I don't know. You know, like as far as like Tellor in general, to actually answer the question, like, you know, we're here, we're going to be a decentralized Oracle, and TRB is used as an incentive to sort of keep the whole network going and keep it secure. That's it's the future of TRB. We're with 360, we're locking in the issuance rate, we're locking in kind of the governance of it. It's going to be a token that never changes. That's about it. Which goes on to the next questions. Do you have any TRB appreciation plan, whether buyback and burn, stop printing, services focused on teller pay, payments, etc.? And then there's like two other questions, max supply, and then another repeat of the question. And then we have a question about, you must specify the max supply. People don't trust things without max supply. And then the last question, which sort of goes into the exact same thing, you should raise the price so people start talking about your project, like Solana, SHIB, Doge. Okay, so I just read all the questions because I think it was the same person. They're talking about kind of tokenomics and basically price related things that have to go into how we manage the supply and pieces like that. So I think people do trust projects without max supplies. Obviously, Ethereum does not have a max supply. It's a very trustworthy project because sort of the issuance rate is in the code. That said, there are things that you can do with tokenomics to raise the price, whether it's buybacks and burns, whether it's staking or trying to get it used as a money and things like that. And a lot of these are really just short-term kind of games you can play. We're not as interested in doing that. A lot of, unless you have like an integral piece of like, a lot of times anytime like the supply is truly deflationary in a sense, there's really negative consequences to the long term of your token. Even like people are talking about with Bitcoin, the lowering of the issuance rate is a serious security concern in probably soon. So, that's, it's not as easy as it sounds like, oh, well, we can pump the price by, like, we could obviously do that. We could just issue like the token is going to have in supply and we're going to randomly pick people and chop off their supply. And if you're still holding, the price is going to go up, and that would magically make the price go up.
That might magically make the price go up, even if you didn't actually do it. You just say you're going to do it.
Yeah, but like the idea that you can play these games and get the price to go up is false. Ideally, how it should work is that actual usage and people buying it leads to the token price appreciation, and that's where we hope to get. Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet, as a space in general for literally any token.
And just to add that, Nick, and the reason we want that is because that's the only way that you can actually maintain the price level. If it's actually coming from demand rather than just us playing a game, it's gonna go back down if we do.
Yeah, because well, playing the game is sort of how, like we could play that game more and we don't. But it's basically like, how do you manage expectations of the price?
It damages long-term legitimacy of
Sure.
Tellor. Like if you're going to play short-term price gains, other people in the space who we want to work with, who we want to be our users, to respect Tellor and use what we're building, they will respect us less and not want to use it if they think we're just trying to pump TRB and exit scam. I mean, that's not what we want to do. We want to maximize legitimacy more than we want to play those games.
Yeah. I mean, most of these things, anytime people announce like a burn or something, it's just about creating that narrative that leads to more speculation. And we're not too into playing it. We actually want to build something that's useful. So
something when people talk about max supply, I always bring up the point that, how many coins can you think of that have reached their max supply? Like proof of work coins or
I mean, like you have like a chain link where you just issue a fixed amount.
But the fixed amount is so big.
But I would say like they don't, in the sense, because there's actually no difference between, like having a max supply versus like if the Chainlink team owns 50% and they slowly sell on you. like that's basically, you're issuing tokens into circulation.
If you have a small supply and you add to it gradually, there's no difference between that. In reality, there's no difference between that and then you mint a giant supply and this much of it is locked. Yep. And you unlock some of it slowly over time. The circulating supply is still growing slowly over time. There's no, in fact, there's no difference between the two.
So don't pay attention to those. The price is here. We're down 90%, just like Chainlink's down 90%, just like every altcoin is down 90%. It sucks, but we're here, and you guys, like, I like to tell people, like, you guys have, we're not going anywhere as far as a team. We're still here building. We still do have runway, so we're gonna make it to the next bull market, and that right there is kind of insane alpha. So just picking which ones aren't gonna die.
When the price goes down, we feel it too.
Yeah, but at the same time, we're going to keep building throughout this. We're going to get users that are actually going to stay around and, not just be sort of these Ponzi schemes subject to the market. So we're excited about it. Things have never looked better for Tellor, despite the price. So thanks, everyone. Any closing thoughts?
What you got, Tally?
Yeah.
I don't have any today. I wish I did.
All right, cool. All right, see you guys later.
See ya.